This is Naked and Afraid. It's a hardcore Minecraft server, which means if you die, you're gone for good. On top of this, Armour is also banned, along with chat being disabled, so the only way to communicate is through sign. Despite all of this, will I be able to survive, but also thrive on this Minecraft server? Stick around to find out. This is the first episode of Season 2 of Naked and Afraid. Hopefully I can survive for a while. Without further ado, let's start the video. When I looked into the server, I noticed there was a camp with other people. However, I didn't worry about that, I just went to grab some wood. I then used my wood to craft a crafting table in order to make myself a wooden pickaxe, which I then used to mine some stone. In order to craft myself a wooden pickaxe, axe, and also a sword. Not to forget, a boat. Here's a proper view of the spawn castle, in case you wanted to see it. Looks pretty cool. I then went to gather some leaf litter, as it's a good fuel source. I then went out in search of some iron. I managed to find a piece. Although it was only one, it was enough for me to make myself a shield, which I could do once I gathered this coal. I then crafted myself a furnace and smelted my iron, which I then used to make myself a shield. I then found a bunch of coal, so I mined it all up. So I went back to the base camp and then spoke to a player named Enzik, who told me that I had to go to the tower and collect a compass along with the banner in order to make my shield the red logo, since I was part of the red group. Now that I had done that, I could now go out in search of some more iron in order to get myself full iron tools and maybe even some diamonds. So then I set sail, hoping to find some iron somewhere. And I had managed to locate some iron, so I started to pillar up towards it. While I was pillaring up, something unfortunate happened. No way, somebody already died. You're probably wondering how I knew somebody had died. Well, whenever someone dies, a death cannon plays. This will be important later down in the series when more deaths happen. Anyway, back to the video. So I continued to go upwards until I finally reached the iron. I then mined it all up. I then started to create a strip mine, so hopefully I could find more iron. I also lit up the way behind me so no mobs could spawn. I then continued to mine until I found some iron. Unfortunately, I didn't have much success finding iron. However, I found some copper, so I took the time to mine some of it up in order to upgrade my pickaxe into a copper one. I then continued mining until I eventually found some iron. And some even more iron. I then smelted it all in order to craft myself some brand new tools. I then continued to mine, but this time my eye set on diamonds. Although I had not yet found diamonds, I had found something much more sinister. This was Skulk. It's a block that's only found in the deep dark biome. The biome that houses the Warden, Minecraft's strongest mob. Since I didn't want to die on the first session, I began to turn around and started to mine in a different direction. And after a long while, I had finally managed to find some diamonds. I also found some lapis. I then continued mining and I had found some diamonds. I then went up my staircase and began crafting some diamond tools. I then returned to the surface and now had a problem. I had to gather some food. So I decided on the first thing that I saw, which was fish. I then started to cook my fish, and then left my little hole and made my way back to the red group. Once I'd returned, I then went to distribute some of my wealth. Once I made my way closer to the base, I noticed some improvements, and also I made the downside. They thought I was the player that had died. Apart from that, everything seemed to be going well. I took a quick look around the base. I then noticed there was a board that had everyone's player names on. Since it was now nighttime, we decided to wait in the tower until it was day. Once it was daytime, I began to build my own little base. Whilst I was building, a player called Shreya had been bringing a pink sheep. However, I had more important things to tend to, such as my magnificent base that was now in the making. Now that I built the foundation of my base, I wanted to get an opinion from another player called Ippy. So then I showed him to my base and I asked him to let me know what he thought. And he thought it was fun. Well, that's one of the best things someone said about my building, so I'll take it. Thank you. After that confidence boost, I continued building until a player called Lloyd had interrupted me. Lloyd wanted me to use my diamond pickaxe and to mine some obsidian so we could have a nether portal for our base. So being the polite person I am, I accepted and began making my way to the lava pool. The lava pool ended up being a mushroom biome, one of Minecraft's various biomes. So then I began to get set at work mining the obsidian. With the 4 obsidian I mined, I made myself an enchantment table so I can enchant my pickaxe in order to mine the obsidian faster. And I also enchanted my other tools, because why not? I decided to give my pickaxe to Lloyd since I had to go, so they could continue mining and get the rest of the obsidian needed for everyone to get a nether portal. I then logged off, hoping that I would survive next session.